Whether you like the mid-forward crunch and diversity of the Mark series or the more scooped, modern sound of the rectifiers, Mesa Boogie has you covered on both ends of the spectrum. But what about that big spot in the middle? Well, as it turns out, Boogie's got you covered there too. Hi, I'm Steve. Welcome to my studio. Beginning as a modernization of the rectifier series of amps, the designers at Mesa Boogie sought to, according to tone guru Doug West, modernize the dual rectifier with tighter lows, more chimey top end, a different EQ altogether. Now, in some ways, it may seem like the Badlander is aimed more at classic rock tones, but with its tighter low end and tighter gain, it does heavy sounds really well. In fact, for heavy stuff, I think I like the Badlander as much as any other amp I've ever played through. Now, to me, the tonal palette of the Badlander is right there in the middle between the Mark 7 and the multi-watt dual rectifier. The mids are more forward, the lows and gain are tighter, and the highs are just sweeter. I've seen it advertised as a tighter, meaner dual rectifier, and I agree. Think of it maybe as a dual rectifier with a bit of British attitude. Let's check it out. Now, as usual, the aesthetics are great with black tread plate, stainless steel grille, and black ToneX. But the Badlander has a lot more than just good looks to offer. It's a 2-channel amp. Each channel has 3 modes, clean, crunch, and crush. And both channels are identical, so you can have any combination of these 3 modes that you want. And as with most fairly recent Mesa Boogie amps, the Badlander is multi-watt. You have 100 watts, 50 watts, and 20 watts. So you can dial back the volume a little bit or take advantage of a more tube-driven tone. So let's check out some tones. I'm playing a custom Strat with a Seymour Duncan JB in the bridge, a classic hot stack in the middle, and a vintage hot stack in the neck. This tone knob is wired to split the coils of the JB, and this tone knob is wired to turn on the neck pickup regardless of where I am on the 5-way. Now, I don't know if I'll be using these switches, but now you know. Now, I'll be running into a few different speaker cabinets using these mics. And in an effort to try and be kind to my neighbors, I'm running through a Variac Power Station PS100 with the gain dialed back a little bit so it's just not ear-splitting loud. Now, as has been the case with most of Mesa Boogie's designs, they paid a lot of attention to the clean channel, and it sounds outstanding. Let's check it out. Now, I love how that sounds. There's plenty of headroom. It's punchy. The highs are sweet. And it sounds equally good for funky riffs or the more articulate picked stuff. Now, I don't usually spend a lot of time talking about the clean channels of my amps, but the Badlander has a sweetness to it and this 3D depth that just sounds remarkable. On the power switch, there are 2 options. Bold is your normal on position, and Variac drops the overall voltage down to 93 volts, giving the amp a more spongy feel and a slightly different EQ curve. So if I switch over to Variac, drop down to 20 watts, and bring up the gain a bit, maybe give it some more highs, I can get a more old school snarling bluesy type of sound. Let's check it out. And if you're so inclined, it takes drive pedals really well. I once heard Doug West from Mesa Boogie say that the Variac switch is kind of a way to get two personalities out of one amp. I agree. The drive channels have plenty of gain, but sometimes it's nice to get a different flavor of drive, and this works great. Now, about those drive channels. Now, to me, that sounds just about perfect. It's nice and crunchy. There's plenty of heft and power. The gain isn't sloppy. The lows aren't flabby. The mids are abundant without being overbearing. And the highs are present without being piercing or brittle. And the range of drive available on the gain knob is nice, from classic to shred, and it doesn't get mushy at the upper levels. Now this makes for a fantastic sound and crunch channel. And if you dial up the mids, there's plenty of gain for some lead stuff too. Or again, this channel also takes gain pedals really well. So you can dial back the gain to a moderate level for a classic kind of crunch, and then hit it with a drive pedal for lead stuff. Or you could just switch over to crush mode where you got all the gain you could ever want, probably more. This mode is, of course, great for lead stuff. Now on crunch mode, you can dial the gain way back to get a really classic, not clean, but old school type of sound. Crush mode though is all about high gain crushing tone. And again, even at higher gain settings, it doesn't get mushy or sloppy. Maybe a little bit noisy. Now around back, you've got your speaker outputs here. You've got two 4 ohm and one 8 ohm. Now Mesa Boogie generally uses fairly robust output transformers that can handle basic impedance mismatches. So you're good with whatever speaker cabinet you've got. Now all the way over here is your effects loop. It's your basic series effects loop. I haven't used it yet, but from what I understand, it's tube buffered and it sounds great. So you're good with all your effects. And finally, just as with the Mark 7, you got the Cab Clone IR built right into the amp. Now, you can switch from between 8 different impulse responses. The amp comes with 8 of Mesa Boogie's most popular cabinets, and you can also load your own impulse responses. And what makes it even cooler, you can have a different IR on each channel, giving you even more flexibility. The Badlander features a built-in internal load, so Cab Clone IR can be run with or without speakers attached. So there you go, my little quick and dirty run-through of the Mesa Boogie Badlander. I really love what they did with this amp, and even though it doesn't feature tube rectification like some of its brothers, I think this amp fits in really nicely with the other amps in the rectifier series. So what are your thoughts on the tones of the Badlander? Let me know down below in the comments, and as always, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.